you're well. I hope you're all having a lovely day. I'm here and ready to continue reading our book, The Kid Who Came from Space. So, chapter 36. Getting to the boathouse means scrambling up the path to the main road again and walking along the next path down. The thorns and twigs obscuring the path have been cut away in recent days by search parties who have been up and down the path to look in the boathouse for Tammy, probably a few times. Iggy gets off his bike and points to the ground. Thanks to the tree cover, the snow is less deep here, but we can still make out footprints leading away from the boathouse, large footprints. I put my foot next to one, it's adult size. I feel my heart starting to thump again as we go down the path, even though there's no way of knowing for certain who has made them. The prints are rigid, as if from a boot of some sort, but I recall the creature we met had been barefoot, so... "Hey Tate, this way," Iggy calls. The boathouse door is locked with a rusty bolt and a huge padlock, but it's easy to follow the footprints round to the side, where there's a window a bit above head height that looks as though it has been forced open. It's just a bit too high to see in. "Here, give me a leg up," I say to Iggy, who links his hand and helps me up so I can see in. It's basically a large shed and dark inside. Where the floor would normally be is water, with a wooden walkway running around three of the sides. There's stuff hanging on walls, looped ropes, a life belt attached to a rope and life jackets. It looks like it hasn't been used in years, and it smells of mould. I call down to Iggy. "It's empty." "Calm down," he says. "Let me have a look. There's an idea. Something, I dunno." He rummages in his short pocket and pulled out the laser lure, detached from its hooks that had been left on the jetty. "Come on, leg me up." As I hold his foot, he shines the laser lure into the shed, and I hear him say, "Oh my word." "What? What is it?" He calls back down to me. "It's here, Tate, it's here." I hardly mean to ask, but I say it anyway. "What is it, Iggy? Let me down." I do so, and he stands facing me, eyes shining with excitement and fear. I'd say it was a spaceship, Tate. An invisible flipping spaceship. The same one we saw, or rather didn't see, last night. We swap over again, and I take a turn with the laser lure, shining its beam at the empty space in the boathouse and marvelling as the green line bends around whatever is there floating on the water. This thing is about the size of a big leisure cruiser, but I can't work out its exact shape. There are lines and curves, and they don't seem to meet where they should. I mean, is there a normal shape for a spaceship? I have an excellent idea. "Iggy," I say, "I'm going to try to take some videos of this laser thingy. It will be proof." I steady myself by hooking my arm over the window ledge, and I put my other hand into my back pocket to get my phone out, all while balancing on Iggy's hands. The video app on my dried out phone still isn't loading properly, and I'm trying to swipe the screen when Iggy starts to shake. "Careful," I say. Then Iggy says, "No, Susie, get off." I wobble. As I wobble, I feel the laser lure in my left hand slip from my grasp, and I hear it plop into the water on the other side of the wooden wall. Iggy's hands give way, and we both slide to the ground in a heap. "Sorry," he says, when we've picked ourselves up. "Susie got under my feet." "At least now we know," I say. "It wasn't our imaginations." He nods, but I say stay silent, staring at the ground. "What's up?" Iggy says. "That's good, isn't it? We're not crazy." He's excited, tugging at my sleeve. I turn away, biting my lower lip. The snow has stopped, and the still lake is a deep, silvery grey, perfectly reflecting the sky. I can hardly speak for fear, and I feel a huge blockage in my throat. "It means we have to act, Iggy. It means this is real. We're in the centre of it all, you and me. If there is even the slightest, tiniest, minuest chance in all of this weirdness that Tammy is safe somewhere and we can get her back, then I have no choice." Iggy fixes me so hard with his grey-green eyes that I have to stop myself shrinking back. His gaze is magnified by his thick glasses, and I swallow hard. I recognise the look. He had it that day on the school taxi bus when he demonstrated the death ray. It's a look that is both determined and slightly crazy, and it's the crazy bit that scares me. I take out my phone and look at the time. "Gotta go, Iggy." I explained about the press conference at 3. "What if we both speak to your dad, Tate? You know, double the..." I think of me and Tammy, and I'll double the trouble thing with Mum. Double the number of witnesses sort of thing. If anything, having Iggy back up the story is going to make it less likely that my dad believes me. I don't want to tell him my dad's opinion of him, but as for me, I'm beginning to think that having Iggy on my side is an advantage. I mean, in a truly crazy situation, having someone crazy with you might actually help. Chapter 37. I've texted Dad and Gran that I'm on my way back, so they don't get all anxious. Dad has pretty much given up objecting to Iggy anyway lately, and Gran doesn't even know him so far as I'm aware. It's 2:45 by the time Iggy and I push our bikes up the driveway of the Stargazer. It's already getting too snowy to ride them easily. Parked in front of the pub are various vehicles belonging to the TV people. 2 police cars and an old Mini with a British flag painted on the roof, which belongs to Sandra, the police FLO. She's standing in the doorway of the pub without a coat on, arms wrapped around her against the cold, and she gives me one of those sad smiles when she sees me, and raises her eyebrows in greeting to Iggy as well. "Hi, boys," she says. "Where have you been?" Beside me, I notice Iggy straighten up a bit, as if offended by this question. I'm pretty certain that Iggy's had run-ins with the police before, and I know he's met Sandra. "None of your—" "It's okay, Iggy," she says gently. "It's all right. It's good that you two are getting out of the madness for a bit." "We've just been for a walk, haven't we, Iggy?" I say. "You know, fresh air and that." She nods. "Too fresh if you ask me. Freezing, isn't it? Come on, let's get in and get this over with, eh?" As we walk in, Sandra allows Iggy to get a few steps ahead, with Susie hopping alongside him, and then she puts her arm around my shoulder and squeezes. "You all right, pet?" she murmurs, and I nod. "I'm sorry about your mum. I spoke to your dad earlier. She'll be back in a couple of days, he reckons." Inside the main bar area, there are TV lights on stands and people milling about, and I can see Dad talking to the police superintendent, who's now in charge of the search for Tammy. When Dad sees me, he breaks off his conversation and comes over to me. "You okay about this, champ?" he says. "You don't have to do it if you don't want to, you know." I look over to the table that is set out for the cameras, with little microphones and signs with names on, Sot T. Jones, and so on. Granny's already sitting down. "It'll be all right, Dad," I say. It's for Tammy, eh? I have to force the words out. In fact, I can hardly speak at all. It's as if everything I want to say about the creature, Helly Ann, the invisible spaceship in the boathouse, about what happened on the jetty, and what she said about Tammy, and the report on the Australian website, all of it is backed up in my head like cars in a huge traffic jam, honking their horns and revving their engines, and nothing can move and nothing can get out. I take a deep breath, and I'm about to say, "Dad, can we talk for a minute, like quietly, and I'll tell him everything." But then Sandra comes over and says, "All right, Adam, Ethan, shall we do this?" Dad says aye, and he takes a deep breath and pats me on the back. "Ready, son?" I've lost my chance. Moments later, it starts. The superintendent makes a statement about every effort being made and not giving up hope, and massive support in the community, and other stuff which I'm not really listening to. Camera clicks and flashes are going off all the time. Through it all, Granny's holding my hands under the table. "Can you tell us how you're feeling, Ethan?" asks one of the journalists, and all I can do is shake my head and keep staring ahead and blinking while the camera flashes are going off. Psst, psst, psst. And Gran grips my hand even harder. "How am I feeling? What sort of question is that?" I feel like I've been transported into another world, a world that I've seen before, and on TV and in films where people read statements to the cameras flanked by officials in uniforms and suits, and flashes go off, and reporters thrust microphones at you and call you by your name even though they don't know you. Only now, I'm in that world. Instead, I shake my head and say nothing. Adam, can you tell us how you're feeling?" says the same man after a moment. Psst, psst, psst. "Ethan, can you remember? Adam, do you think there should have been more progress? Ethan, what's it not knowing what happened to Tammy?" Psst, psst, psst. Then without warning, Dad gets to his feet, toppling his chair. "Get out," he says. He doesn't shout, but he doesn't have to. "Get out of my pub, now!" Dad is as gentle as anything, but he's so tall that he can be intimidating, even though he doesn't mean to be. Sandra, the FLO, is on her feet now, too. "All right, that's enough, everyone. Enough, thank you. We'll keep you informed. You'll have all the relevant numbers. You will learn of any new developments in the usual way." She turns to us, smiling grimly. "Come on, you've had enough of this, I expect," she says, but she has to raise her voice because the journalists and the others have all started to talk amongst themselves. It's chaos. And then I see him, striding through the crowd. I'd forgotten that Iggy was even there, but he had been standing quietly at the back with some of the other people from the village, and now he is coming straight at us, pushing through the press of people. He grabs a microphone from the table, and in one movement leaps up onto the pool table in the middle of the room, followed by Susie, who flaps her wings to perch on the side. Iggy shouts into the microphone, "Everybody, listen to me now." A hush falls over the room as everyone turns to look, and my heart leaps into my throat. "No, Iggy, no," I want to say, but the words won't come out, and he wouldn't hear me anyway. Okay, I'm going to stop there for today, leaving it on a bit of a cliffhanger. What do you think Iggy is about to tell everyone in the pub? Okay, have a think about it tonight, and I look forward to continuing the book tomorrow. Take care.